Well, today we have the joy and privilege of welcoming Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson back to CSL Midtown. Dr. Raymont is a spiritual teacher, author, and New Thought leader. He is the creator of EKG, Embodied Knowingness of God framework, a modern spiritual model centered on embodiment, effective application of our mental equivalents, integrity, conscious choice, and effective actions. And he has a book that's related to this framework that's going to be available soon. So that's very cool. As the founding minister and spiritual director of the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, he weaves all of his life experiences, skills, interests, and passions into a cohesive, inspired, and energized approach to manifest the beloved community and to elevate New Thought and CSL as household names while creating a world that genuinely works for and offers powerful healing to all. Welcome back, Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson to CSL Midtown. So happy to hear your words this morning. Welcome.
I am honored. Cheers. Thank you, Judy. Thank you to my beloved CSL Midtown family. It is great being back with you. And as Judy said, yeah, we're closing out the month of, wow, it's April already. Where is the time going? I mean, come on now. Yes, so we are closing out the month of April. This idea of what is our practice of becoming, which is an interesting paradox in and of itself because we're already it. So we're actually becoming more aware of what we truly are. Because you can't become more of what you already are. I can't become more human. Human is what I am. But I can become more aware of what it means to be a humane human in the scope of what humanity is. Judy also mentioned, what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about this idea of love as a daily commitment. How committed are we? So Judy mentioned, yes, see, oftentimes we think of love or we speak of love as, this fleeting feeling. I was in love. I'm not in love. I don't love you, but I like you. I don't like you, but I love you. Love comes and love goes. Like a breeze on a spring day, it's gone and it is hot. Yeah, we're done with this whole idea of love being a fleeting feeling. What if our invitation now is more accurately that we daily practice what love is as it offers us the opportunity, the invitation, and a chance to reveal who and what we truly are as God incarnating itself, God expressing itself as us. How often and what would it mean for us to truly be committed to this practice of love, this practice of divinity, this practice of embodied awareness of what we truly are? And we practice it as a sacred path, a sacred form of expression that reveals our divine truth. So I guess, if you're anywhere where you're able to type into the chat box, are you ready to revamp, renew, reapply a more powerful, more authentic, a more divine way of demonstrating your commitment as love? Are you committed to this? Are you sure? If so, then let's dive on in. So commitment, like how do we identify commitment? Well, I'm sure we've all seen or heard this concept of someone gets into a plane wearing a backpack. The plane takes off. The plane is in the air, way up there somewhere. The doors open, and this person with the backpack, because they are so committed, they step out of the plane. Wait a minute, what? You said they stepped out of the door. Yes, they stepped from the ground, the floor of the plane, into the floorless air. And then what happened? They fell. And then what happened? And then, as they are plummeting toward the earth, they pulled this string, not like a Barbie doll string. I think they called it a ripcord. They pulled it, and from the backpack, kaboof, a parachute. And then they gently floated on down to the ground. That's a demonstration of commitment. They jumped from a plane. Once you jump, there is no amount of swimming, flapping arms to get you back into the plane. Are we that committed to love, life, God, peace, ourselves, one another, and a world that works for all? Are we that committed? So I'm going to give you two quotes, and I want you to think about who said what. They're very similar. Someone said, to me, the word God is a synonym for love, life, truth, beauty, reality, the absolute, the divine presence, the universal spirit, because God is universal. God is in each of us, or else we could not be. That's quote number one. Quote number two. My belief that God is love. My belief that God is love. That love is everything. Our true destiny sustains me. All awakening to love is spiritual awakening. Who said what? So the second one was Bell Hooks. The first one, Dr. Holmes. Love and God are synonymous. So when we talk about love, being in love, being, I love you, what does that mean? Because once again, we're not talking about it as a fleeting feeling. We're talking about it as the foundation of all that is. And yes, I know when we're talking about love as an emotion, as a feeling, yes, we can talk about signs of love, types of love, stages of love. Yes, we can talk about the biological and psychological aspects of love, lust, attraction, attachment. Yes, we can talk about the ancient Greeks and how they talked about eros and storge and pragma and mania and agape. Yes. We can talk about it from a spiritual standpoint, which includes things like love and attachment, trust, worship, madness, the death of, etc., as referenced in Sufism. Yes, all of that, yes. And yet, when we are talking about it in terms of the absolute, the divine, the truth of who and what we are, it's important for us to reground. Come back to the space that says transactional love is not love, conditional love is not love, egoic love is not love. And all three of these things are robbing us of precious time, precious energy, and the access to real love. Real love is experiencing a sense of being that transcends even the concept of giving and receiving love. Just as God does not give or receive in the absolute, where is there to give? Who is there to? In the absolute, there simply is. God is. Therefore, love is. This love, true love, divine love, recharges us, renews us, resurrects us, and reinvigorates us because it is the truth of who and what we are. Breathe. The time of being, as the Buddhists would reference, the time of being a hungry ghost, referencing love. Being a vampire who needs to drink the blood of someone in order to stay. I don't know why I did that accent. Leave me alone. But you get the point. That's my Christopher Lee Drac. Anyhow, don't mess with me. And I already know Dr. Tracy Brown is probably laughing at me and shaking her head right now, watching me. But it's okay. But this idea of we are always, when we don't know what love is, we are always looking for love in all the wrong places. That era, if we are moving into a space of creating a world that works for all, then we must relinquish the concept of that version of love. Let it go. Stop talking about it. Stop being connected to it. Stop anchoring in it. Move beyond it. There's a quote that's often attributed to Jimi Hendrix. You know, anyhow, that's my air, whatever. And this quote says, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. What is good old Jimmy talking about when it says the power of love versus the love of power? The funny thing is, the power that he's referencing isn't actually power, because true power is love, and love is true power. So what is he talking about? He's talking about this idea that says many people are operating on a delusional concept that has them addicted to pseudo power, pseudo love. It's like a mirage where someone is guzzling sand while thinking they are drinking water. Breathe. Pseudo power is what created Jim Crow. Pseudo power is what created Nazi Germany. Pseudo power is what fuels the warmongerer. Pseudo power is what says that, in the words of J.P. Morgan, money equals business, which equals power, all of which come from character and trust. You said, what now? Money equals business, which equals power. What? And then Kim Stanley says, money equals power. Power makes the law. Law makes the government. Money equals power. Wait a minute. All of these things are examples of pseudo power. When Carl Sandburg says, money is power. Money is freedom. Money is a cushion. Money is the root of all evil. Money is the sum of blessings. What? Where did we get into this idea that money, the more money you have, the more power you have, therefore the more control you, that's pseudo power, not true power. True power is love. Love is your superpower because love is the acknowledgement, the embodiment of your divinity. Love says, I know who and what I am. And knowing who and what I am, I therefore have greater access to knowing what is mine to do. In a world where I live, move, and have my beingness as a Jedi. Justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are the values that I live by, because that is a demonstration and the activity of love. Dr. Holmes said, in an intelligent study of the teachings of the science of mind, we come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. How are we balancing this idea of yin, yang, love, law, in order to participate more actively in the creative process so that things like war move into extinction? Systemic poverty moves into extinction. Systemic unhousedness moves into extinction. So that the only people who are unhoused are the people who I simply desire to live with the sky and the stars as my roof. That's their choice, not because a system has caused them to lose their home simply because a paycheck was whatever a paycheck was. How do we change and transform the system? So imagine for a moment, come into my mind. Imagine for a moment if we had politicians anchored and grounded in this awareness of what love is, anchored and grounded as the very embodiment of what this love is. Imagine what kinds of policies would be created and legislation would be created from that foundation. As Dr. Holmes said, in moments of real inspiration, we realize to a degree at least that God is all, the life in and as everything, as well as the love. Imagine how that inspiration would then move leadership, how it would move education and medicine and science. Imagine how that inspiration, recognizing that love is all there is, would then show up in the legal system, the judicial system. How would it then show up as prisons and penitentiaries? How would it then show up as all that we exist within? Infinite love harmonizes each person's entire being. Dr. Holmes. Harmonize. How are we coming into harmony with? How are we bringing different elements and different systems or different ideas into agreement? Consistency in life-affirming accord. Rumi once said, be foolishly in love, because love is all there is. Be foolishly in love because God is all there is. Be foolishly. And see, we've vilified this idea of foolishly. I personally love being called foolish because I see it in the way that the tarot card of the fool is the one that believes in the impossible. The fool is the one who has the audacity to say, peace on earth? Of course we could do that. How do we start? Let's meet on Monday and make it happen. You need to be more realistic, Ray. But that is realistic. If someone can create war, then we can create peace. If there is more than enough food, which is demonstrated by the amount of food we throw away on any given day, there's more than enough food to feed every human on this planet. Every animal on this planet has more than enough. How do we? That's not realistic. Then I don't want to be realistic. I want to be a practical idealist, as Dr. Holmes spoke about. Emily Dickinson said, love is all there is all we know of love. How are we harmonizing with this all that we know of love as all that there is? Robert Adams says, awaken, be free, be yourself. You are the joy of the world. You are the light that shines in the darkness. You are a blessing to the universe. Love yourself always. When you love yourself, you love God. I'm going to say that again. Love yourself always. When you love yourself, you love God. Forget about the past, never dwell on the past. Remember that time and space do not exist, not in the absolute. Love yourself. Be committed to loving yourself. Don Miguel Ruiz said, "You can see everything with the eyes of love. You can be aware that love is all around you. You can be. Are we? To what degree are we aware of it?" Eric Butterworth once said, "I see the world not as it is, but as I am. And I am in spiritual unity with God. I see the world not as it is, warmongering, corrupt politicians, brokenness, systemic ills. I recognize it, but I choose to see through it, beyond it, to the truth of its being, oneness, love, and joy. And when I move and operate from that space, then I can transform and change the conditions. Because I see the world not as it is. A patient comes into the ER. The doctors don't see the patient as, oh my goodness, they are so shark bites, struck by lightning. Ah, I don't know what to do. They see that. They acknowledge it. Yes, this is what's going on. But I see them as they are, a being, a body that knows how to heal itself. The moment I suture, the moment I stabilize blood pressure, the moment I, as the physician, do whatever it is I need to do, health and well-being. Are we ready and able to move into that space? Breathe. Robert Adams said, "Love is not an emotion and not feelings. Love goes beyond all of that. Love is to realize that you are a part of everything, to realize that your very self is part of the great flowing river of infinite existence, to realize that you are everything." Love is energy, love is joy, love is life, love is all, love is awe, love is God, love is it, love is you. How are you living as that? Frederick Bale said, "Perhaps the three greatest words in life are what? God is love. Love is the very nature of God, because love and God are one and the same. So perhaps the three greatest words in life are, you are love. Because God is love, and if God is love and God is you, you are it, then you are love. Love is the very nature of you. It has to be. You are a divine expression of the one. And if God is love and love is the nature of that which it is, and you are an incarnation and expression of that which is, then love is your nature as well. Are you ready to be committed to living, moving, and having your beingness as the very expression of that? Namaste. And so it is.